What is up, people? Let's get into this. Welcome to Last Call. This is Last Call Reacts. It's just a small video about whatever's going on in the intertubes or, current events or anything like that. If it's your first time checking me out, welcome. If you are coming back to check me out, man, welcome back, and I definitely appreciate it. Do me a favor as we start. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is my react video where I do this once a week on a certain subject. And today, the subject that we're going into is this person. Or if you maliciously seen the title called Jess Mediocre. I'm just poking fun. I don't really plan to be mean here. I just want to go through some of the details. So again, this is Last Call Reacts. Do me a favor, man. Drop that subscribe as we get started here. I do one live a week. Normally, been doing them on Fridays about 9:30. So come through, tap in, have a conversation, start a conversation. I might leave the floor open this Friday, just to have some conversations with people and see how it's going, because there's a lot going on, man. And wherever we start, we certainly don't finish there. Anyway, as you know, and feel free to check out the catalog, my little itty bitty catalog, as you go ahead and subscribe for me and get on there and find out some of my previous videos and lives that you would like to just vibe out to and have maybe in the background and enjoy that. All right. And I normally, if something's kind of bubbling up in the news or something for a little while, I'll start paying attention to it. And then if I'm really compelled, I might do a little video about it, as with the case with this one here. So let me go back, describe a little bit about what's going on, and we will definitely get started with this one, right? So on the screen there, you see a person, a comedian, an entertainer by the name of Jess Hilarious. All right. Just being a little facetious with the title there by putting Jess Mediocre. And let's go back into a little bit of the history with her. So if you don't know, or if you haven't heard of a show called The Breakfast Club, it was three personalities on this morning show here. Three morning personalities on 105.1. You have Charlemagne the God. I hate saying that name. You have DJ Envy. And you also have, or had, a person by the name of Angela Yee. Now, I think they were up for contract renegotiations coming up, and all wasn't too right with the show. And so people were seeking new contracts, or, maybe trotting off to do something else. As was the case, I guess Angela Yee didn't too much like her position there. Charlemagne was renegotiating. He had a book out, and he's got these other shows out, with stupid Andrew Schultz, untalented, unfunny podcast going on over there. Actually, I don't want to shit on The Breakfast Club too much. I'm not a fan like that, but they have done some interviews, and that's where, most people from pop culture, or mostly from hip hop culture, come through, even though they had some presidential candidates come through there as well, because it's a place where the media has a far reach, right? So it's one of these places where it was kind of like anti-establishment, but over time, as it got to the masses, people would buy into their program. And I don't want to call anybody a sellout or anything like that, but they definitely, like most people probably would, give into the corporate funding and push, which comes with a lot of responsibility with that. So the flavor and the texture of the show kind of begins to change. You got Charlemagne on there, who I don't really think ever really had a backbone like that, especially when he was with Wendy Williams. He was her little lapdog, and quite a little sassy fellow. He would try to get rather than really do meaningful interviews, he would try to get under the skin of the guest and try to do that gossipy type of bullshit rather than, a respectable interview. You got DJ Envy, who's been in hot water a lot during his career, a lot with his wife, and more recently, I think this real estate fraud program with one of his homeboys as well. So definitely questionable characters. Angela Yee, dudes made a big deal out of her. I didn't really find she was like all that, but she seemed to be the only one with a little bit of journalistic integrity on the show. Otherwise, she just didn't want to hang like the dudes would hang on the show, therefore going off and doing her own thing and using, I guess, what people would think would be sex appeal with her. I don't really see it with her, man. I'm not saying she's ugly or all that, or she's not appealing. Just, I think certain people get too much hype. Maybe it's the surroundings where you are really dull, so you manage to shine, out of that as well. Just a little take on that. So after the negotiations, they had not quite auditions, but some tryout spots, I guess, to be that third mic. I've never heard of Jess Hilarious before all of this. Before I did this video, I went back to she comes from a stand-up background. And I have to say that loosely, a stand-up background with sort of the modern twist on it. She came up, during like Instagram fame and a lot of these apps and social media versus working the clubs. And that's how a whole lot of these guys came up, right? And really got popular through like COVID and times like that. So she rode that wave, became very popular, but still with a very niche market, I would say, right? Checking out some of her stand-up, as I said before. I didn't go in there with any great expectations. I'm certainly not trying to hate on her or anything like that, but it's nothing that I needed to see. If I liked her, I'd be a fan of hers already. Just seeing her on a couple of episodes. If you're a comedian, if you're going to play a jerk role or an asshole, then you got to be that and you got to sell that. But if you're just an asshole and you're not a likable person per se, it's a little bit different to try to be a fan of yours, especially if your work doesn't back you up like that. I think the first time I was really aware with her, she was on there talking about Master P owed her some money for I Got the Hookup Part 2. In an unrelated news, it's the first time I found out that there was an I Got the Hookup Part 2 on top of that as well. And she was complaining that her money wasn't right. And to me, she came across in that interview as though she put her work in like she was a Monique or Samore or somebody, one of the sisters like that who really, really, really put their work in back in the day, that she should be held to the same regard. So kind of didn't like her in the way that she was coming across. But part of me kind of said, you know what, she made it there in that seat. Somebody liked her. She has some sort of fanfare, which Corey Holcomb, who she would be beefing with for years and years, would say, you know what, she kind of got it because she had a good social media presence. And that's kind of how things work these days. So I'm like, all right, cool. Wasn't a huge fan, but besides me and trying to be a little bit more objective as to what's going on now. So apparently they didn't like the work that she was putting in and she was catching a lot of shit. She took some time off. She had a baby. Who knows when it's a good time to have a baby? When you start to get your foot down into a career and then you decide to go off, have a baby. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I'm not working against the clock like that. My job's pretty stable at what I do, and I don't think I'd have to worry about that. So I don't feel like I could give a fair say on when to do that. But without being biased, I could just say, yeah, there's probably better times to have a baby or plan to do that than not. It might have been a little selfish to get the job and then say, well, I'm going to get the baby thing out of the way because now is the best time for me, rearranging her profession and putting her life schedule in front, which, debate on what you want to do. I can't say. One thing I got to say before looking into this also is we have to stop we have to stop normalizing unprofessionalism. I know it's entertainment. I know part of the job is that you come out and you speak to the audience. You break the fourth wall and let them know what's going on and stuff. But I'm kind of tired. I'm tired of grown people speaking. Yeah, there's street talk. I got a lot of people on the street, but you know what? I went to college. You don't have to go to college, but you can kind of increase your vocabulary. You can make proper sentences, stuff like that, especially if you're going to be heard, right? It hurt me when I went back to look at certain podcasts like Lord Jamar, and he's speaking in a way where you're more, well, I thought he was more intelligent than that before the flat earther stuff, but you know what I'm saying. There's a certain time, there's a certain age that you should exemplify some sort of maturity and stuff. And by the way, Just Hilarious made me hate the Baltimore accent for good now. It was cute when Snoop was doing it on The Wire, but now I'm just like, oh shit. I cannot stand that. Anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of this. Finally, the water boils over a little bit on the Breakfast Club, and out of all places, Jess Hilarious said a few things behind the scenes and then brought it on to the Breakfast Club, and they attempt to discuss some of it here. Well, actually, I don't want to even say attempt to. Some of the discussion goes as good as you would think it should go. So here we go.
She's been trending all day.
Yes.
I think she's number 9 right now.
Okay. Because I was sitting at home last night trying to watch Magazine Dreams, and I kept getting a bunch of phone calls and text messages and people
Fair
like
use.
just
Fair
going off
use.
on live.
Shut up.
We have audio.
Club.
Okay.
Don't strike me, bro.
We supposed to be a team up there. Not one person comes to my defense at all. Like when I'm like not one mother ever with this online. Come on, I've been quiet a lot. If Jess Hilarious is quiet, it's some other reason. I always got my mouth open all the time. Just ran like a high school. It is Fair East Side High.
I agree with that.
And then there you are. You're talking shit about the place like you just been there a few months. But all right, go ahead.
Fair East Side High.
Fair point.
Before Mr. Club, though. Every day, and they always talk about, you ain't at work, you ain't at work. Yeah, bitch, I started picking up more shows. Hell no. That's how I'm getting. Hell no.
Okay, so she wants to express that she has more things going on than just the Breakfast Club, which good for her. Again, I'm not maybe her audience type. To her credit, I will say I looked up some of her stand-up. She seems to have pretty decent stage presence. She seems very comfortable on stage. Her material is about being high, smoking, that sort of stuff. Sort of just like Tiffany Haddish's is about fucking sucking some chitlin circuit sort of stuff. So don't look for any enlightenment. You're going out. She seemed like the ones that I saw, she always seems like a little bit of an opening act versus like a main feature in there. Anyway, I'm going to get through this here.
Hell no. I have more fun outside the studio than I have in there now. Is you crazy?
No, act like that's not for real. Act like nobody knew that. Stop acting like y'all like
What
we
part?
really.
What you mean we don't have your
I
back?
have
Break
more-
that down. Explain how we don't have
Okay,
your back.
all right.
I don't know what she's been through, man, but she seems like difficult, some sort of entitlement. Like, I still don't know who this person is, and I'm not the barometer for who the fuck people are out in entertainment world and all this sort of shit, but I'm just bothered by her level of complacency of who she thinks she is and her achievements. We gotta remember, man, we aren't mainstream because we're popular in the community. Sometimes you take being popular amongst social media presence, this, that, it doesn't mean you're mainstream like that. It doesn't mean you made it or you broke through to the other side or certain stratospheres. You're just getting some popularity now. I just hate that attitude that, you have that little bit of, you're popular in some hoods, in some platforms. This is a pretty big platform, I'll give you that. But still, nobody knows your history that well. And not a lot of people came out to vouch for you of who you are and how talented you are, right? You're saying stuff is popping now, but it's popping off the name of you're from the Breakfast Club, blah, blah, blah. Here you are getting these spots. You weren't getting that before.
Right. So the narrative, like I said, with the online ish, that's what I said. Y'all ain't nobody trying to clear up no narrative about nothing. Ever since I came back, it was weird. Yes, it was weird. Yeah. I at first, no, I did not. I wasn't too fond of Lauren. No, I wasn't too fond of her. when I came back.
So Lauren is an actual journalist of TMZ fame, who they got to fill in for her, basically to do the news stuff while Jess was away, and Jess would do Jess with the mess, some Hollywood type gossip stuff, as where Lauren would really do the news stuff. And apparently when Jess Hilarious came back, Lauren didn't go. They kind of didn't make room for her to come back and be like, all right, you're back, things are back to normal. So part of her gripe is she came back and Lauren didn't move nowhere.
Because we had a whole plan, even how when I came back, how I picked her to fill in for me, right? I come back, she ain't never leave. Then, all right, cool that she don't leave, but she's on only during my segment. If she was meant to be a fourth host, move her in another way. Why she got to be moved in on? Because nobody had a problem with Jess with the mess until she started reading right. You know what I mean? Till she started reporting.
All right, now, she just kind of exposed herself there too. Sort of a joke on her is that she's apparently, for the job, not a great reader, right? They kind of, they make fun of her for stumbling over words and not being able to read correctly at a very low level, which, I don't know, you're going to have this job. You're going to need those skills, right? Now, if you have a real professional stepping in for you, you're going to have problems. People are going to be able to compare what should be and how it ought to be versus, kind of what they've been made to settle with you. So it's not really fair to the audience. So just hearing her say that, like she's reading right, like, you're not doing the job properly. And what are you supposed to do about that, right? You're lacking in something. To me, that kind of shows a little bit of the entitlement with that, like, earn your spot. Do your thing. You think you're getting it off some brand name of who you are, when I kind of feel like a lot of people could have filled that void where it could be the third mic, basically, right? So even she's admitting, like, yeah, she's not a great reader. So what is it? It doesn't seem like it's her personality. All right, let's go.
I wasn't hired as a reporter. I was hired as Jess with the mess. So she started. So she started reporting. If she was meant to be a fourth host, move her in another way. Why she got to be moved in on? Because nobody had a problem with Jess with the mess until she started reading right. You know what I mean? Till she started reporting. I wasn't hired as a reporter. I was hired as Jess with the mess. So she started reading and delivering details and all that stuff.
Yes.
Then that's when Jess with the mess wasn't good enough no more. That's how it was presented. So I'm like, all right, cool.
You gotta step your game up. All right, we're gonna move that up a little bit. There's one thing I'm just gonna throw this in here before we continue, which, in my opinion, shout out to Kyle Flexen. I'm going to use a little bit of his stuff, fair use. But she did something recently. Now, this is on personal time. She was invited to Shaq's house, and she goes out and reports what happened at Shaq's house, which is a violation. You could see down there in the screen where Shaq is like, damn, Jess, like, imagine you invite somebody to your house. This isn't on some Hollywood shit or some show business shit. And this is what you get the next day.
At Shaq house yesterday, right? And this man is living like Neo. He got 4 white big booties. And then, like, one is in the kitchen cleaning. The other one is in the basement.
Shaq,
4.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know another Shaq.
Right.
But
there's some people that just got no fucking chill, dude. You can't, like, they put loyalty, everything to the side to be able to tell some sort of story. And this story is not even putting Shaq out there like that. You just want to show how much in the business you are, how close you are to other celebrities and all that. And you're exposing this, basically doing the clout chasing thing, man, by putting somebody else out there. Somebody showed you hospitality, and this is how you keep that relationship.
Yes,
he be down in Atlanta.
Guess what, Jeff?
Yeah, he got a house in Atlanta.
He got 4 wives?
4 white women.
Does Shaq want you to say this?
Yes.
You'll
never get invited to his house.
I don't give a hot goddamn.
What happened at the house yesterday?
Now she says that, betrays the dude, and I don't give a hot goddamn. That's your response to that? Like, you're kind of showing who you are in this business. And my feeling is like, you just broke in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to play a little bit more of this, but I think you get the idea.
we talking about? No. This is our listeners. This is yeah. Why can't we worry about the comments? And these are people that enjoy the show and watch the show. It's not all about Instagram. It's YouTube. It's like we have people that have been watching the show. Yeah, she's great at what she do. That's why I picked her to fill in for me. But when I came back, it's like, what's going on? If she's gonna be a fourth voice, why she only got to be a fourth voice?
Well, correct me if
on
I'm
my
wrong.
segment.
She wasn't a fourth voice. She was a producer. She was hired as a news producer to help with getting all news and doing interviews.
She was going to be the senior news producer.
She wasn't on there. When you came back,
I do like the way that they corrected that.
Lauren was not on there. She was in the back doing questions, sending interview questions, reporting the news. Am I lying?
I thought
Yeah,
you was. I thought
she was on air. She was on air.
They told her don't step in this room.
Yes, but I thought you was using her on purpose.
What? You thought I was using Lauren on purpose?
Yes.
No. What are we talking about? No. She didn't leave when I came back. The first day we had a whole situation like, all right, look, this was going to happen. And when it's time for us to roll, it changed. No, the first question was about only.
She shouldn't do that. She's just doing a bad time explaining herself about anything over here.
Person who asked me about my baby maternity leave was Envy. All right, I walked in. She addressed the hate in the comments. That was the first thing she addressed when I came back. I'm like, what the hell would make her want to think
I love it, by the way.
Y'all talk off air though, right?
So yeah. We started.
It's like when somebody goes to court or something. She's used to wearing the eyelashes, heavy ass makeup, and crazy ass hair, this and that. She has the nails down here, but trying to dress all conservative to try to make her point. So she got a court date over here.
Talking off air. We started to.
But I'm saying even prior to you even coming back.
So then I felt uncomfortable that first day.
So all right. So she's saying that secretly they tried to make a move, basically, without her in there. This is Lauren, a little bit of her response when
this morning show, The Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, Charlamagne, God, Jess Hilarious, Lauren LaRosa is here. We're having a conversation because Jess Hilarious went crazy on Instagram last night.
And I knew the live would upset. You know, Charlamagne, you don't get upset, whatever. But I knew that it would upset Envy. I knew it would upset Lauren. That's why you closed the elevator this morning.
That was crazy. Now, why would you do that, Lauren?
I just wanted to.
They pulled up at the same time.
At the same time when we parked, and she was in front of me.
She saw Jess. She didn't know what Jess was on, so she rushed to the elevator. She hit the button. You remember when Q was on Juice and he thought Bishop was behind him?
I hit the button one time, and this was why
I heard the button though.
I I felt like I didn't know what to say to you because I was so thrown off by parts of that live yesterday. I'm like, bro, we be talking at least enough. Like, we don't got to be friends outside of here. But I feel like I've always said to you off air, whenever things have happened, we've had conversations about a lot of different things.
Right. A lot of people are saying that she's the better choice. Even look how she's articulating herself a little better on the situation too. You know.
Let's talk. Call me. What's up? What's the issue? What's going on?
The issue is the whole narrative. Like, I understand F the comments and F the people and all that, but it's not all about them. It's how I'm feeling too. What if I'm feeling the same way the people feel? You know what I'm saying? So what? Because niggas online feel a certain.
All right, let's move that up.
It's not, everything's not a joke. And I can understand some of where you was coming from, but bro, part of that live I thought was crazy. I'm like, what, Jess? Like,
what part did you think was crazy?
What part? Because like, Lauren, it's not like you didn't hear anything in that live that I haven't said to you.
I heard a lot that you didn't say to me.
Okay, so what part did I not say to you?
Okay, so the part about the talking over each other and the hush, be quiet, because you talk about how you feel in real time, right?
Yeah,
I'm feeling in real time. That be quiet. That was crazy. The shut up. I was like,
all right, so they go back and forth. You guys could go and watch. Peace out to Breakfast Club for letting me watch that as well. But I'd like to know what the heck other people think about it. Should she be there? Should she not? Is this thing being handled properly the way that we think it should be handled? If you had your choice of a third seater, who would your third seater be in this situation? Let me just say, I think being in entertainment is a hard-ass gig. Some people appear to have it better than others. Some people appear to have a better work ethic than others. Some people seem to have more likability than some of their peers in the business. And maybe that all might make a difference in, your placement, what people say behind your back, how they maneuver. By any stretch of the imagination, I don't think it's a fair business that you just simply go up the ladder by merit. I think there's a lot of variables involved for certain types of success. If you're just hanging in there, you don't quite have the personality, I think things are going to be a little bit tougher for you. All right. And a certain amount of talent got you there. But maybe there's some other things you're a diamond in the rough. Maybe there's some things you got to polish up to make it to the next level. So much, and especially in this generation, and we're taught that take me as I am, and I'm not changing for anybody, and that leaves no to little room for people to express personal growth, to help their mental well-being, to develop their personal skills and professional skills at all. But like I said at the beginning, let's not normalize being unprofessional, spazzing out on the job, or talking shit, or coming in with an attitude because, that's part of my attitude. And for some reason you think it's cute because it worked for you before. All right. Sometimes that shit just does not work. So this has been my video for the week. Thank you for turning in. Do me a favor if you can, like, share, and help me out with that subscription. Thank you to the two couple new subscribers that I've had lately, and everybody else who's been hanging on there with me too. Please continue to do so, and watch out when I do my live. Come check me out. Even tap in with a couple questions and all that stuff too. Definitely appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.